Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it's another steamy day here in Southwest Florida. And what I want to do today is share with you, I got a short video, I just want to share with you one orchid. And it's this one here, which is the same as this one here, which is the same as this one here. I got something I want to throw in at the beginning right there. But this is a Bratonia. This is, I got to look up the name. This is Dark Star, I shouldn't have to. Dark Star Darth Vader. So this is Bratonia. I don't really know. I have a lot of these plants. I have 3 of the plants here, and I've got some keikis coming out on this. I don't know a lot about how to grow these plants, but they seem to be doing pretty well under the conditions that I grow my cattleyas here. So I want to share a little bit of that with you today. Before I get into these guys, what I want to share with you is this orchid right here. And this is not one of my favorites. This is an unregistered cross that I picked up a few years ago. It bloomed for me once in the past, and then it's blooming for me now. And this is Portia times Why Not. So this is an unregistered cross. I wasn't able to find this plant listed anywhere. I had a viewer that wrote a comment to me, and they said, when it was an unusual question, they say, what's the ugliest orchid that you have? And I didn't answer directly. I didn't say what the ugliest one was, and I said what the greatest disappointment was, and that was this one right here. It doesn't have that many blooms on it. The nice thing about it, it's growing okay, and it does bloom at a time of the year when not too many of my other orchids are blooming. But the flowers are small. They only last maybe a week or two. And the first time that this bloomed, the flowers opened, I think in less than a week. The flowers opened, and then that was it. And these guys have been open maybe a week, and I don't know if you can tell, I'll get a close-up of this. This one's starting to close. There are 3 flowers on this spike. Just a short time ago, there were 2 flowers on another spike. Again, they didn't last very long. They don't show nice. They just they're going in different directions, and they don't last very long. It's growing well. Maybe it's just a question of one of the first blooms on this plant doesn't do well. I actually need to contact the person that I purchased this plant from to find out if it really was registered. I don't know about it, or just to get any information on it. Anyway, that's this guy up here. Not a good thing to start out on, but this is my greatest disappointment. And we'll move this one over here. And it's a nice little flower. It's nice form, but just not a favorite of mine. Okay, so let's go into let's talk about Bratonia Darth Vader Dark Star. So this is my only Bratonia, and this has bloomed for me. I've had this plant only a year and a half. I bought it from a colleague, and gave me a good deal on it. I had this up hanging, and this was one of the casualties of Hurricane Ian. It was in a large clay pot, and I had it hanging, and it dropped during the hurricane. And wouldn't you know it, normally when things drop in my orchid growing area, they just hit the mulch and it's okay. This hit a stone, a paver that was beneath the orchid, and just shattered the pot and put everything everywhere. So I ended up with 4 plants. There's only 3 left here, and it's only because I gave a pretty nice one away to a friend. I haven't checked with him to see whether his plant is blooming, but the larger ones are, and they're blooming pretty well. I did look online. I looked on YouTube to see if I could find some videos on this, because I look at these plants and they don't look great. The leaves don't look. They're kind of light yellow in color. the plant itself, it doesn't look like a good vigorous growing plant, but then you look at the blooms on this and the bloom spikes on this. I'll post an update when more of the bloom spikes are actually in flower. But this smaller plant over here has 2 bloom spikes on it that look like they're going to be pretty good. This is another small plant that doesn't have anything on it, but it looks like it's in good shape. And this plant has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bloom spikes. So I looked online to see what other people said about their and their plants looked way better than mine. You know, lush green plants. You know, really thick, plump pseudobulbs. The plants themselves look good, but they only had 1 or maybe 2 bloom spikes on them, and I've got 5. I think that's all I got. Yeah, I got 5 on this plant and 2 on this smaller plant. So it's doing well enough so that it's putting out a lot of blooms. So you can, you know, with these plants, you can grow them so that they're green and they're lush. And the plants themselves look good, but then if they don't flower and they're an orchid, well, okay. I prefer the flowers. And so these are doing well. I think what happens is that you have high light intensity that causes the foliage here to lighten up a little bit. So I'm growing these under cattleya type light, which is a kind of high light, maybe not as high as the Vandas, but under cattleya type light, and the foliage tends to lighten up a little bit. It doesn't, and when you put certain orchids and certain plants under lower light conditions, they tend to green up, but they may not flower as much. So these guys they're obviously putting out bloom spikes and they're going to flower. The flowers on these are very cool, I should say. And so I'll get a close-up of these, and I think this plant is going to look really exceptional once, well, this one too, once all the flowers open. So this is the first flower spike to open, and it has 3 flowers open, and it looks like only just maybe 1 or 2 more, probably just 1 more flower on this. These, it's probably the same thing. So I think I'll probably have maybe 3 to 5 flowers on a spike here. But I think once everything opens up, it'll be nice. The flowers themselves are pretty special, at least for what I'm concerned. They're I think reasonably sized for this plant. And the coloration is kind of nice. I do like the spotting. I like the intense colors. So there's, you know, the nice purple in the lip, and the spots on the sepals and petals are really nice to see. I haven't crossed this with anything. I don't have much that's compatible with this. So I'm not sure that I want to cross it. But, you know, it may happen. It may be. I've got a meeting of my local orchid society next week, and I think I'm probably going to bring this plant in, even though it probably is not going to be in full bloom next week. But I'm going to bring it in and see how it compares to other ones, see if there's anything that's compatible with that, and I might do some crosses. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so, the other thing I wanted to share with you, and the last thing I wanted to share with you, is that even though I have 3 of these plants already, this one pseudobulb, and I'll get a close-up of this, has 3 keikis on it. And I shared this with you previously, and I'm going to wait for the roots to get a little bit longer on the keikis. And I am the plant propagator, so I'm going to propagate this plant from these keikis. You know, making plants from keikis, orchids from keikis, is relatively straightforward. You just wait for the roots to get reasonably long. Right now the keikis are still on the plants, and they're still taking some of the nutrients from the plant, but I'll wait for the roots to get a little bit longer, and then I'll cut them off and put them in a mix. The mix, I should say that I wasn't sure what kind of mix to grow these in. So they are in mostly bark. The root systems on these tend to be a little bit more fibrous, so I've got them in mostly bark with a little bit of leca. And then on most of my pots, I have lava stone on the bottom for drainage. So I'll probably continue to do that since that's what they're doing well. And I may mix some lava stone and leca in with the bark because this is rainy season. It is so wet here this time of the year. But they seem to be doing pretty well, and I'll just keep on going with them and share with you the blooms as they go. So that's all I have for today. I'm happy to share this plant or all of these 3 plants with you. If you liked what you saw today and you want to keep on seeing my videos, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.